On a cold November night in 2018, 11 women gathered in a suburban Georgia home. They called it a mom's sleepover, a night for games, laughter, and a break from the routine. But by the next morning, one of them was dead. Her name was Tamla Horsford, a 40-year-old mother of 5, and she was the only black woman at the party. The official story? A tragic accident. Authorities claimed she had too much to drink and fell from a second-story balcony. But as the disturbing details of that night began to surface, a far darker question emerged. Did Tamla really fall, or was she pushed into a wall of silence? Welcome back to our channel. Today we're delving into a case that has haunted the internet for years, a story filled with contradictions, questionable evidence, and a community's refusal to speak. This is the unsettling mystery of Tamla Horsford. Our story begins in Cumming, Georgia, a quiet, predominantly white suburb just north of Atlanta. On the evening of November 3, 2018, Tamla arrived at the home of her friend, Jean Myers. She was dressed in her pajamas, carrying snacks, and ready for a fun, carefree night with friends. The party was lively. Photos from that night showed the women smiling, playing games, and drinking. Friends who were there later described Tamla as her usual self, vibrant, cheerful, and the life of the party. But as the hours ticked by, something went terribly wrong. The next morning, around 7:30 a.m., Jean Myers' aunt stepped outside for a smoke and discovered a horrifying scene. Tamla's body was lying face down in the backyard, directly below the wooden balcony. She was still in her pajamas, her arm bent awkwardly beneath her. The 911 call that followed was strange. Jean's boyfriend, Jose Barrera, spoke to the dispatcher, but his tone wasn't one of panic or grief. It was eerily calm, almost detached. Told the operator, "She's not moving one bit." I'm completely not sure if this was self-inflicted. Self-inflicted. From the very first moment, the narrative felt off. Why would that be his first assumption? This one phrase ignited a firestorm of suspicion that continues to burn today. The official investigation seemed to raise more questions than it answered. The autopsy report was chilling. Tamla had suffered multiple severe blunt force injuries. She had deep cuts and abrasions on her face and neck. Her right wrist was dislocated. Her tibia was broken. Most alarmingly, she had a significant laceration on her heart. The GBI medical examiner concluded that these injuries were consistent with a fall from the balcony, which was about 14 feet high. They ruled her death an accident, caused by the fall, with acute ethanol intoxication listed as a contributing factor. Case closed. But for Tamla's family, and for thousands of online sleuths, this explanation just didn't add up. First, let's talk about the injuries. Could a 14-foot fall really cause that much damage, including a lacerated heart? Some independent forensic experts have publicly doubted it, suggesting the injuries could point to a physical struggle. Then there was the position of her body. She was found lying face down, her body perfectly straight, almost as if she had been placed there. Eyewitness photos from the scene don't depict the kind of crumpled, awkward position you might expect from an uncontrolled fall. It looked staged. And what about the people inside the house? There were at least 10 other people sleeping over that night. Yet every single one of them claimed they heard and saw nothing. Not a scream, not a thud, not the sound of a body hitting the ground. No one saw Tamla go outside for a cigarette, which was the official reason she was on the balcony. In a house full of people, on a night filled with activity, Tamla's final moments were supposedly spent in complete solitude and silence. Does that sound plausible to you? The investigation itself was plagued with inconsistencies. The crime scene was reportedly compromised almost immediately. Guests were allowed to move around the property and even handle Tamla's belongings before investigators had secured the area. A security camera system at the house, which might have captured everything, was conveniently reported to have been turned off for a system update that very night. What are the odds? Furthermore, certain pieces of evidence were either ignored or mishandled. A partially smoked, hand-rolled cigarette found near Tamla's body was never tested for DNA. Tamla's fingernails, which could have contained crucial evidence of a struggle, were not properly preserved or examined. The people at the party provided statements to the police, but their stories were inconsistent, and key details seemed to change over time. It felt less like a transparent investigation and more like a coordinated effort to protect a narrative. One of the most controversial figures in this story is Jose Barrera, the homeowner's boyfriend who made that strange 911 call. It was later discovered that Barrera worked as a Forsyth County court officer. After the case gained media attention, he was fired for attempting to use his position to access the official incident report on Tamla's death. This action only deepened the public's suspicion. Why was he so desperate to see the report if this was just a simple tragic accident? The racial dynamics of this case are impossible to ignore. Tamla was the only black person at a party in a county with a long and troubled history of racial tension. Many believe that if the victim had been white and the party guests had been black, the investigation would have been far more rigorous. The initial dismissal of the case as a simple accident felt, to many, like a reflection of a justice system that devalues black lives. It took a massive public outcry, petitions with hundreds of thousands of signatures, and the support of celebrities like T.I. and 50 Cent for the case to be reopened in 2020. After re-examining the evidence, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation once again came to the same conclusion: accidental death. They found no evidence of foul play. But for Tamla's family, led by her husband Leander, this conclusion is unacceptable. They believe the evidence points not to an accident, but to a homicide and a subsequent cover-up. They filed a civil lawsuit against the homeowners and several guests, alleging that someone at that party was responsible for Tamla's death, and that the others conspired to hide the truth. So what are we left with? We have a 40-year-old mother of 5 who went to a sleepover and never came home. We have a collection of injuries that some experts say are inconsistent with a simple fall. We have a group of friends who all claim to have seen nothing and heard nothing. We have a compromised crime scene, mishandled evidence, and an initial investigation that felt rushed and incomplete. Did Tamla Horsford, intoxicated and disoriented, simply misstep on a dark balcony? Or did an argument or an altercation that night escalate into violence? Was her death a horrific accident that was then clumsily covered up by panicked partygoers trying to protect themselves? Or was it something far more sinister? The silence from the people who were in that house is perhaps the most damning piece of evidence of all. In a house full of friends, no one has come forward to offer a clear, credible account of what happened to Tamla in her final hours. That silence is a mystery in itself. Some stories haunt us because of the terrible things we know. The case of Tamla Horsford haunts us because of what we don't. It's a tragic reminder that sometimes the truth isn't just buried, it's protected by a wall of silence. And for Tamla's family, breaking down that wall is the only path to justice. What do you think happened that night? Let me know your theories in the comments below. The conversation around this case is what keeps the pressure on for answers. If you believe Tamla's story deserves to be heard, please share this video. And for more deep dives into mysteries that demand a closer look, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.